Good afternoon and welcome to Solent Sports News. I'm Harvey Leonard.
And I'm Chris Elliott.
On today's show, we look at Southampton's latest Premier League challenge.
The latest on Nate Diaz's UFC 244 status.
As well as reports on the newest golfing technology in Bournemouth.
Pool participation.
And Chichester City's FA Cup dream. Eastleigh Football Club has been rocked by a robbery which saw hundreds of pounds stolen. CCTV footage released by the club shows 3 thieves break into the stadium, costing the team an estimated £2,000. The club has appealed for any witnesses.
This weekend's Premier League action kicks off tonight as Southampton host Leicester City. Pressure has been rising on Saints boss Ralph Hasenhüttl, whose side only stay out of the relegation zone on goal difference. A win for Leicester could take them as high as second.
Chichester City have reached the second round of the FA Cup for the very first time. With an odd number of teams entered into the draw after Bury's expulsion, the Lily Whites were the last team out of the pot, receiving a bye and cash injection of £36,000. David Miller reports.
These were the scenes at Chichester City Football Club after they found out they were in the second round of the FA Cup. The Isthmian League South East Division side were last to be selected during Monday night's draw. After Bury's expulsion from the EFL, the Lily Whites were sent straight through to the next stage of the competition. Assistant first team manager Graham G explained how big a moment it was for the club.
It means financial stability for the foreseeing future. Just delighted really for everyone involved, and like I just said to somebody else, it sort of feels like you've won a game, and we haven't. We've just got pulled out of the hat last, which, like I said to you, the manager deserves all the credit, the backroom staff, but like I said to the other guy, the fella in charge here is the most likeable person. He can be grumpy, moody, but he's well liked by everybody. And I've always said he's like a dark overlord. The man's been Hogwarts, I swear. I mean, no one else can. I don't know what he's done up there today, but there's some dark magic going on up at Malden.
The Lily Whites received a cash injection of £36,000 from the draw, the prize money any club gets for reaching the second round. They are the only club remaining in the competition who entered at the extra preliminary stages back in August and have already won all 6 of their games, enough to secure a Premier League club a place in the final. And Wayne Dalton, club secretary, recognises that starting out early on in the FA Cup gives the team a huge financial incentive.
It's nice to start at a low stage, you get more money. If you start at the lower clubs, you get to work your way through like we have. So if you start at round 1, you don't get the money, and then you could be out within the first round. So it's a nice way of making money for the club.
But that money won't only be heading to the club themselves. After the draw, Chichester announced they will be donating some of their awarded money to those connected to continuing Bury Football Club. And it's that community spirit that G sees as a key aspect of being part of the famous competition.
Right now I can sit back, watch the first round and see what comes out, and good luck to all the non-league clubs that are in it right now. Wish them all the best, especially the local guys, the Eastleighs and teams like that. I wish them very well, and I hope they can get into the second round as well. We'd love to join, massive non-league clubs and league clubs. It feels like you've been invited to a red carpet premiere, and we're right at the back end of it, and someone's saying, "Who are those guys?" Everyone's in tuxedos and we're rocking out in jeans. You know what I mean? It's mental.
Monday night was a little bit too much for some members of the club's family, and the celebrations are certain to have left their mark on the Lily Whites clubhouse. It truly was a party atmosphere at Oaklands Park. But with their next tie on the horizon, all of Chichester's eyes will be on the main piece of silverware. Dave Miller, Solent Sports News.
Isn't fantastic, Chris, to see a small side like Chichester really capturing the FA Cup dream?
Yeah, I mean, it's the magic of the FA Cup, Harvey. Teams like that, you really want to see them do well, and they reach the second round here. You never know where they could progress. Conor McGregor has announced his return to the UFC. During his Moscow press conference, McGregor has set his sight on 3 fights across 2020, including a bout with the winner of the UFC 244 Diaz-Masvidal main event.
January 18th, the return of the notorious Conor McGregor, 12 weeks this Saturday at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. That will be the beginning of my season. I will then look to compete against the winner of Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal.
However, McGregor's return may not go to plan, as the fight between Nate Diaz and George Masvidal has been thrown into doubt. Diaz revealed he tested positive for traces of performance-enhancing drugs. Despite not being suspended by USADA, the Stockton native says he won't compete until the UFC fixes the situation.
Some boxing news now, and Josh Taylor versus Regis Prograis will be the main match on this Saturday's card, with the bout determining who will be the World Boxing Super Series champion. Also on the card is an all-British matchup with Derek Chisora facing David Price.
The room was filled with some of the biggest names in boxing, all in anticipation for fireworks. First up was the main event, Regis Prograis against Josh Taylor for the Muhammad Ali Trophy. It didn't take long for things to spark up between the two.
A hard night on Saturday.
You can't hurt nobody if you can't touch them. They want to try to hit me, but they can't. Of course you think people they come in there and lose. They don't come in there and lose. They come in to try to beat me up.
I don't understand. Take your glasses off, you're inside.
I take them off with the face off.
Both fighters go into the bout undefeated, and the eyes of the boxing world will be fixated on the O2 Arena come Saturday.
I think it's a brilliant fight, you know, two undefeated world champions facing off. I think that's what we need in the sport. Both guys can hurt each other, both guys can fight on the inside and the outside. I think it's going to be a brilliant fight.
Next up was the infamous Derek Delboy Chisora, who faces up against David Price. Price stepped in for Joseph Parker, who pulled out suffering from a spider bite. Chisora quickly lived up to his name and reputation, pulling out all the stops to get in the head of Price.
I want to kill this guy. I want to murder this guy.
Could we really go without speaking to Hearn himself? He knows just how big Saturday night will be.
The year last week with Ritson against Davis in front of 9,000. Obviously we had Lomachenko Campbell recently as well on a big card there. This is the best card I think I've ever put on Saturday. You know, we've got Crawler and Katie Taylor next week. We've got Callum Smith in a big domestic world title fight in November.
Fight night is Saturday at the O2 Arena. Matt Savidra, Solent Sports News.
To Formula One now, and Mercedes driver Lewis Hamilton will be looking to extend his lead at the top of the championship this weekend at the Mexico Grand Prix. The 34-year-old has recently been accused of hypocrisy after using social media to raise awareness of environmental issues. He had defended his actions despite his role in the sport.
Yeah, I mean, lots of people have had opinions about how I utilize my social media, but ultimately it's my platform, and we all have a voice, everyone here and around the world, and it's how you choose to and how you want to use it.
Chris, do you think sportsmen should keep their personal lives and their sports separate and keep their opinions to themselves?
Yeah, I feel like he has the right to express his opinion. It's just how they go about doing it, basically. I think with this whole saga, it's been overplayed a bit too much, and what Lewis thinks doesn't really matter too much. His sport, how good he is at the sport reflects, you know, how good he is at F1. So
on the flip side, of course, he could say that he could use his influence for what he perceives to be a good cause.
Yeah. Yeah, but, on to golf now, and Bournemouth's Parley Golf Centre has aspirations to become the best training facility on the south coast. Our reporters visited the club to see the improvements they are making to achieve this goal.
On the tee from Spain, Miguel Angel Jimenez.
It might be an old sport with generations of history, but golf is already moving forward thanks to technology. Here on this fantastic driving range, I feel like I'm playing on my PlayStation. The Parley Golf Centre is one of those clubs that's already a step ahead, offering alternate ways of playing the game. However, this technology doesn't come cheap. Around £40,000 a year, in fact, with each top tracer bay costing around £200 a month. It's an investment worthwhile to become the leading golf centre on the south coast.
The facilities we're going towards and what we've got now is definitely up there, beating some of the top golf courses. I mean, we've got Ferndown Forest and Ferndown just down the road, which are well rated as like top quality golf courses, along with Dudsbury, used on the PGA Tour a few times in the last couple of years. But those guys all come here to do their training because of the facilities we have, so yeah.
The club has big ambitions with its facilities as they aim to attract new members, and they certainly seem to be paying off.
Yeah, I think it's very good. Yeah, it definitely changes the range up here massively. It brings a lot more people up here.
It's certainly busier down here. Yeah. And the technology is a keen golfer, you know, amateur one.
Yeah, it's really good. You know, it gives more focus on the driving range session.
It's not just the driving range that's improved either, as the club also offer a new experience in the form of night golf. The innovative way of playing adds a new dimension to the game, with lit up golf balls and holes creating a great spectacle and changing the way people play.
It's a different experience to normal golf. It's a lot of fun because you never know. You can see exactly where the ball's going. It's always easy to find the ball. It's very sociable because it's a good laugh, because you don't treat it as seriously as you would during the day.
The combination of all these innovations is certainly boosting Parley's clientele, helped by their location as the closest training facility to Bournemouth city centre. From Parley to St Andrews, it's only a few taps on a screen. Sebastian Zani, Solent Sports News.
Well, there we have it. Do you think a new technology like this will help boost a sport like golf?
As you saw with Parley Golf Centre, the innovations they're making in technology is certainly improving the sport, sport there, and it's what the professionals use on the tour and stuff. So it's only a good thing, really, and we're seeing it there, how in its use, how good it is. So.
To the Rugby World Cup now, where England will be looking to end their 6-game losing streak against the All Blacks in the semi-final clash this Saturday at the Yokohama Stadium. If Eddie Jones' side can get past the tournament favourites, either Wales or South Africa will await them in the final. Despite the challenge, Jones says his side is ready for whatever they will come up against.
We've had 2.5 years to prepare for this game, so we're ready to go. And it's going to be a great contest, isn't it? Two heavyweights, one dressed in black, one dressed in white. You couldn't think of a better scenario.
Now on to pool. There has been a rise in participation in local pool venues across the country. Reporter Josh Wolford went to find out more.
Pool and snooker are often dismissed as just hobbies rather than sports. With popularity reportedly on the rise, we want to find out whether that perception has changed.
Rocket Ronnie's is the only pool bar currently open in Southampton. It opened in May 2018 and has attracted both casual and competitive players. Pool is often seen as a good opportunity to have a drink with your mates, but others take it more seriously.
Yeah, I play at quite a high level, snooker and pool. Maybe, snooker more than pool. I practice on my own, I play on my own, or if I play matches, I'll play matches. Sometimes I might come with the odd friend here and there, but it's mainly competitive for me.
Cue sports are becoming increasingly popular in today's society, with recent studies showing that the World Snooker Tour gaining a television reach of 1.6 billion homes. Despite the competitive element of the sport, the social aspect still has a big appeal for many.
I'm rubbish at most sports, but I play pool just for the social side of it. I'm no good at it, to be honest with you. I play for the team in Division 4 of the local league, and we're normally very rubbish and normally bottom of the table, so I just play it for the fun.
While snooker fans worldwide wait for the outcome of an Olympic bid, the sport continues to be popular both for leisure and competitively. Joshua Wolford, Solent Sports News.
Despite a failed bid to make it to the 2024 Olympics in Paris, there is now talk of another bid for the sport of pool to be involved in the 2028 Games. Former UK champion John Virgo was at the UK Senior Championship in Hull today.
Well, it's very popular now in China, and Europe is now picking up the mantle, and yes, I think so. You look at all the tournaments and the money, and there is a rumour, and it's only a rumour, but in a few years' time, the winner of the World Championship will get £1 million. So, young people, get your cues out.
That's all from Solent Sport News. Keep an eye on our social media for breaking news throughout today.